The firstborn is a king without a rival. For a brief, intoxicating moment, they are the center of a universe that exists solely to serve them. Then, the intruder arrives. In the world of psychology, we call it deferment. It isn't a transition. It's a coup d'etat. Every year, millions of children experience this silent trauma. We treat it as a milestone, a blessing. But for the one holding the cracked crown, it is the birth of a lifelong shadow. Why do the world's most powerful leaders, high achievers, and neurotics almost always share the same birth certificate position? Why is the alpha child often the most fragile interiorly? Alfred Adler, the man who split from Freud, saw something the rest of the world missed. He saw that the older child isn't just a status. It's a psychological prison. That there is a darker secret hidden in the data. A pattern of behavior so predictable it borders on the conspiratorial. And it all begins with the moment the firstborn realizes they are no longer enough. We've been sold a lie about family harmony. The old world of parenting tells you that love is infinite, that a second child just expands the heart. Adler knew better. He knew that the family is the first battlefield. It is the original arena of power politics. The firstborn, the monarch. They are the experimental child. Parents are vigilant, anxious. They pour every drop of their ambition, fear, and projection into this single vessel. The firstborn doesn't just receive love. They receive pressure. They are the surrogate parent, the responsible one, the trailblazer. But then comes the mystery. If the firstborn is given the most resources, the most attention, and the most training, why are they statistically more likely to suffer from chronic anxiety and a pathological need for approval? We assume they lead because they are capable. Adler suggests they lead because they are terrified of being replaced. Imagine you are the CEO of a company. You have 100% of the shares. You have the total loyalty of your board. One morning you walk into the office. There's a stranger in your chair. The board, your parents, looks at you and says, "This is the new guy. You're going to share your office, and your toys, and your life. Also, you need to be a big boy about it." This is the birth of the superiority complex. The firstborn doesn't just want to be good. They must be the best. Because best is the only way to regain the spotlight they lost. But here is the open loop you didn't see coming. There is a specific type of firstborn that doesn't become a leader. They become the problem child, the deferment rebel. Why do some firstborns become CEOs, while others become the very thing that destroys the family? The answer lies in a single decision made in the nursery. A decision about power versus love. Adler's theory isn't just about order. It's about striving for superiority. Every human feels inferior. It's our natural state. But for the older child, the fall from grace is literal. They become the power seekers. They value law, order, tradition. Why? Because the old law was the one where they were the only child. They are the conservatives of the family unit. They protect the status quo. They are the guards of the castle. But look at the middle child for a second. The rival. The second child is born into a race that has already started. They are the pacemaker. They are constantly trying to overtake the firstborn. This creates a permanent state of siege for the eldest. How do they respond? By doubling down on responsibility. Look at me, Mom. Look at how well I can take care of the baby. Look at how good my grades are. Look at how I never make trouble. It's a bribe. It's an attempt to buy back the 100% share of the parents' hearts. But what happens when the bribe fails? What happens when the parents are too tired, too distracted, or too busy with the new child to notice the perfection of the old one? This is the dark realization phase. When the firstborn realizes they cannot win back the throne through goodness, they turn to a darker currency: control. The older child problem isn't just about being bossy. It's about a deep-seated fear of the unexpected. If things change, I might lose my place again. If people enter my life, they might replace me. This is the over-functioning trap. The firstborn becomes the person who does everything. They are the reliable one who is secretly drowning in resentment. They are the hero who hates the people they are saving. Adler called it the depreciative tendency. They become masters at spotting the weaknesses in others, especially their siblings. If I can make the younger one look incompetent, I look better by default. It's a zero-sum game played in the living room. Let's talk about the adult firstborn. They dominate the Ivy Leagues. They dominate the C-suite. Statistics show that 21 of the first 23 astronauts were firstborns. Why? Because the dethronement gave them a permanent hunger, a void that no amount of success can ever truly fill. They are running a race against a ghost. The ghost of the time they were the only one. But here is the mystery no one mentions. If firstborns are so successful, why are they also the most likely to experience imposter syndrome? Because their success isn't built on self-worth. It's built on comparative worth. I am successful because I am ahead of the others. If there are no others to beat, the firstborn loses their sense of self. They are a reactionary identity. Now, let's deconstruct the responsibility lie. Parents brag about their responsible older child. She's like a second mother. He's so mature for his age. Adler saw this for what it really was: parentification. The older child is robbed of their childhood to serve the stability of the family unit. They are forced to grow up at double speed. They become the fixers. In adulthood, these are the people who stay in toxic relationships because they feel responsible for the other person's mess. They are the employees who take on the work of 3 people and never ask for a raise. They are the martyrs of the nursery. And this leads us to the most conspiratorial part of Adler's theory. The family doesn't just happen. It is a system that needs these roles to survive. The family needs the firstborn to be the stable one, so the younger ones can be the creative or rebellious ones. The older child isn't naturally responsible. They were conscripted. But wait, there's a twist. What happens when the firstborn refuses the role? What happens when the king decides to burn the castle down rather than rule it? Adler noticed a subset of firstborns who become the fallen princes. They saw the pressure. They saw the intruder. And they decided the only way to win was to not play. These are the brilliant failures. The ones who had so much potential, but just couldn't get it together. Their failure is their rebellion. If I can't be the perfect king, I will be the perfect catastrophe. Either way, you must look at me. It's the same hunger, just a different flavor. So, where does this leave you? If you are the older child, you are likely nodding right now. You feel the weight on your shoulders, the invisible crown of thorns. You've spent your life trying to get back to the center, trying to prove that you are still the first. Adler's message wasn't to condemn you to this fate. It was to wake you up. The dethronement was 20, 30, 40 years ago. The rival is no longer a threat. The parents are no longer the judges. But the king is still sitting on a cold throne in a dark room, waiting for an applause that already happened. The older child problem isn't the siblings. It's the script. You are still playing the role of the responsible one, because you're afraid that if you stop, you'll disappear. You're afraid that you aren't loved for who you are, but for what you do. And this is the final mystery. If you stop being the firstborn, if you stop being the fixer, if you stop being the king, who are you? Most firstborns go to their graves without ever answering that question. They are too busy maintaining the order. But the 0.1%? the ones who truly break free, they realize that the throne was a high chair, and they walk out of the room. They stop striving for superiority. They start striving for connection. They realize that being second or third or last is just another way of being free. The weight isn't yours to carry. It never was. Adler's birth order theory isn't a life sentence. It's a map of the prison. And now that you have the map, the only question is, are you ready to be normal? The crown is optional. Wait, there's one more thing they don't want you to know about the upcoming shift. But that is a story for another time.